¿Qué tal? Soy Rigo Cisnado. Les doy nuevamente la bienvenida a esto que es CAD Virtual. Esta noche, en nuestra sección de Explorando la Música, el maestro Javier Jaramillo nos hablará acerca de la música gospel. Así que sin más preámbulos, el maestro Jaramillo.
Hola y bienvenidos a esta conferencia sobre explorando la música. Esta noche exploraremos el significado oculto de las canciones del género Negro Spirituals, las canciones espirituales del negro. Aviso. Well, let me say that. Hello and welcome to this evening's lecture on exploring the music, where we are going to be exploring the hidden meanings of the lyrics and text, basically, of the Negro spirituals. Aviso. Academia observa el título Negro Spiritual porque no solo es el título del género, sino porque también conserva la lengua vernácula de la época. So, advisory. The academia observes the title Negro Spiritual because it's the title of a genre, and because it also conserves the language of that time, the vernacular of that time. However, I will be using the term African spiritual when I'm referring to Negro spiritual. Yo usaré el término espiritual africano o African spiritual cuando me refería a las canciones espirituales del negro. ¿Ok? Perfecto. Ahora, una breve historia, a short history of the Negro spiritual. El, el, eh, el africano espiritual, the African spirituals. The African spirituals son canciones creadas por los africanos que fueron capturados y traídos a los Estados Unidos para ser vendidos como esclavos. So this is saying that the African spiritual was conceived because or through by the Africans that were taken from their land. They were captured and they were brought to a new land, the United States, to be sold as slaves. Esta raza robada fue privada de sus idiomas, familias y culturas. Sin embargo, sus maestros no pudieron quitarles la música. A lo largo de los años, estos esclavos y sus descendientes adoptaron el cristianismo, la religión de sus maestros. So, even though these Africans, they were stripped of everything. They were stripped of their families. They were stripped of their culture. They were stripped of their language. But one thing that the master could not take away from them, and this is so beautiful, is that it could not take away their music. They could not take away their music. So, because of the many years that this went on, slaves and their descendants adopted Christianity because it was the religion that their slave owners or their masters would practice, the religion of Christianity. But, lo reformaron. Lo reformaron en una forma profundamente personal de lidar como la impresión de su esclavitud. Sus canciones, que se conocieran como espirituales, reflejaban la necesidad de los esclavos de expresar su nueva fe. So, what would happen was that the slaves would get these songs, get these stories, Christianity, and they would translate it to themselves because, of course, they were from a completely different region. They would transform it so that it could, so that they could have a very profound personal connection, although they were oppressed and slaves. They wanted to be the best that they could be, and they wanted to have a very clear relationship with God. this is what would get them through it. So, los esclavos sabían de Adán y Eva en el huerto, de Moisés y del mar Rojo. Cantaron sobre los niños hebreos y Josué en la batalla de Jericó. So these slaves could tell you the stories of Adam and Eve in the garden and Moses at the Red Sea, and they would sing, about the Hebrew children, and, Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho, and they could talk to you about Mary, Jesus, God, the devil. Podrían hablar de María, Jesús, Dios y el diablo. Y si te quedaras un buen rato, pues también yo creo que escucharías una canción acerca del ciego que puede ver, que ve. So if you stayed around long enough with these people that were just so in the moment, in the spirit, you'd probably hear a song about the blind man that was able to see. And also Jesus crucified and resurrected. Si los esclavos no pudieran leer la Biblia, memorizarían las historias bíblicas que escucharon y las traducían en canciones. So if they couldn't read the Bible stories, they would memorize the stories in the Bible, what they would hear, they would memorize it. And they would translate it into songs. So las canciones también se utilizaron para comunicarse entre sí sin el conocimiento de sus maestros. So these songs were utilized for communication within themselves without the knowledge of the slave owners or the masters. Esto fue particularmente el caso cuando un esclavo planeaba escapar de la servitud y buscar la libertad a través del ferrocarril subterráneo. So this was very evident. These songs would start to be sung when a slave was getting ready to make a run for it and he was planning his escape. He would sing these songs which had to do a lot with the Underground Railroad. Los espirituales se crearon extemporáneamente y se transmitieron oralmente de persona a persona. So these spirituals were made exclusively, and transmitted orally from person to person. We call that by rote, when somebody teaches you something from, word of mouth to word of mouth. La prohibición de que los esclavos aprendieran a leer y escribir significaba que se desconoce el número real de canciones, pero se cree que son aproximadamente 6,000 canciones diferentes de dolor solamente. So, because slaves weren't able to read and write, that was strictly prohibited. It's not known, or it's not well known, how many Negro spirituals there are, or African spirituals there are accounted for. But it's said that there's approximately 6,000 songs, different songs, that have to do with one theme, and that's pain, which, that's a lot of songs. So, we have las narrativas y alusiones bíblicas están incrustadas en lo espiritual. La erudita afroamericana Yolanda Y. Smith describe el papel de la Biblia en la experiencia del esclavo afroamericano. So the narrative that we're going to, the biblical narratives are encrusted. They're just completely immersed in these spirituals. And an editor, Yolanda Smith, describes the Bible, but in an experience from an African-American slave. And it is: incorporada en lo espiritual, la Biblia puede servir como una fuente de educación que abarca, por ejemplo, el valor de la traducción oral. Los africanos esclavizados a quienes se les prohibió aprender y leer y escribir, transmitieron valiosas lecciones de vida de las escrituras y otras fuentes de sabiduría a través de los espirituales. Los esclavos aprendieron esta lección en los campos mientras trabajaban de sol a sol, en la privacidad de sus viviendas y en los servicios de adoración. So, incorporated in the spiritual, these Bible stories were passed on through the spiritual as fundamentals and education and examples of living a just life. Also, it also was a wonderful value that these stories were being they were being crossed from place to place to place to place orally. That in itself was a big accomplishment, because the stories were able to be kept concisely, together, and it there wasn't all of these different variations of the story. It was quite a goal, and they achieved it. And the African slaves, although they weren't, they were prohibited from writing and reading, they were able to allow their secret teachings to go on while they were working. They would work up from sunup to sundown, or in the privacy of their own rooms, or also when they were having service, maybe on Sunday. They would have adoration, and that's when they would be able to do all the ritual that they're learning and they're loving and they're transmitting, so that others can learn this, because there's something else going on here too. De hecho, para las masas de esclavos que no sabían leer, los espirituales eran un canal hacia la palabra de Dios. This is very, very interesting and very important, is that for the slaves that weren't able to read or write, the spirituals were a direct connection to the Word of God. That's why they were held so close to their heart and revered. La Biblia en el canto de ska destacó los principios básicos de la fe cristiana: amor, esperanza, misericordia, gracia, justicia, juicio, muerte, vida eterna. So the spirituals also had the principles of Christianity in the songs as well. So this was something that they were really delving into, and they found it beautiful, because this was the connection to honesty. This was the connection to their hope. This was the connection to, maybe it doesn't have to be this way all the time, and that's necessary. We're living in those times right now, and it's necessary to connect to being able to understand that everyone is a slave to something. And unfortunately, the human race right now is a slave to technology. And, it's just how it is. And I think that, we can learn something from how slaves were able to get out of that lifestyle that wasn't helping them at all, and they were freed from it. It's important to understand how they did it. So, los esclavos cantaban espirituales no solo para hablar de sus dolores, sino para darles la esperanza de que algún día las cosas mejorarán. Los esclavos pudieran utilizar los espirituales como mensajes codificados para comunicar y transmitir mensajes a través de sus comunidades. So, this is where we start getting into the slaves putting in hidden messages into the spirituals, and they were codifying, they were coding messages that were going to be sent across from different communities and across their own community, so that people can start having a way of communicating without anybody, or without the masters actually knowing what they're saying and possibly, you know, stopping their progression. So, interesting. Eran expresiones de grandes dolores y tristezas, pero también tenían esperanza dentro de ellos, a diferencia de los blues, que solo trataban de los problemas. So the expressions in these African spirituals were mainly, a big chunk of them were about pain and sadness, but they also spoke about hope. And, you know, it's interesting that, you know, to say that African spirituals were the grandfather to what we know as jazz, what we know as blues, what we know as gospel, what we know as hip hop. I mean, all of that comes from the African spiritual. They just focus on different things or have different attributes. So, los espirituales africanos son, es ¿cómo podemos decir? El abuelo, the grandfather, de los blues, de jazz, de gospel, también de hip hop. De ahí viene todos estos géneros de música. Y pues es muy valuoso saber esto del Negro Spiritual o del African Spiritual. Los espirituales no deben confundirse con las canciones gospel. Típicamente, los gospel tienen un ritmo más optimista que los espirituales. So, let's not confuse the African spiritual with the gospel. A gospel tends to have a more upbeat rhythm than a spiritual. Los esclavos africanos pudieron usar espirituales para burlarse de sus maestros en cierto sentido. Let me just get a drink of water. En cierto sentido, los maestros disfrutaron de la música y de los esclavos, pero no prestaron mucha atención a las palabras reales que cantaban. So, the Afro-American, the slave, could sometimes, say things, about the slave master. They could say bad things about the slave master. And because the slave master didn't really pay attention to any of the words, they just thought that the songs were nice and they would pay attention to them, but nobody would really ever pay attention to what they were saying. So it's kind of funny that their secret language, that's how they communicated. That's how they adapted. Los espirituales musicales se dividen en tres categorías básicas. Tenemos el call and response, la llamada y respuesta. Un líder comienza una línea que luego es seguida por una respuesta coral, a menudo cantada a un tempo rápido y rítmico. Aquí tenemos Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for the cotton hill home. Swing low, sweet chariot.
Muchas veces los espirituales contenían frases que trataban de escapar a la libertad. Un ejemplo de esas frases sería: si llegas antes, les digo a todos mis amigos que yo también voy a subir, dentro de la canción Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Mucha gente cree que Swing Low, Sweet Chariot trata sobre el ferrocarril subterráneo. So, many of the African spirituals contain phrases that try to give an escape to the freedom. They use sentences such as, si llegas antes, les digo si llegas antes, les digo a todos a mis amigos que yo también voy a subir. So if you get there, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm going to go up before that I'm also going to go up. So if you get there before me, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm going to go up as well. So this is a way of codifying, hey, I'm next, you know. And all of this had to do with the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad, el ferrocarril subterráneo, es una red de rutas secretas y casas seguras establecidas en los Estados Unidos desde principios hasta mediados del siglo 1900 y utilizado por afroamericanos esclavizados para escapar a los Estados Libres y Canadá. So, the Underground Railroad was a line of routes and secret houses, and all of this was established in the United States at the beginning and in the middle of the 1900s. And it was mainly utilized for Afro-American slaves that wanted to escape into the North, into the free states, and into Canada.
Coming for the Academy.
El plan contó con la asistencia de abolicionistas y otros simpatizantes de la causa de los fugitivos. No literalmente, sino metafóricamente, un ferrocarril. Los esclavos que se arriesgaron a escapar y los que los ayudaron también se conoce colectivamente como el ferrocarril subterráneo. So there really was, Underground Railroad is not a literal term. It's a metaphorical term of a railroad. And it's talking about the slaves that risked that risked their lives, and also those on the other side that helped them. And it was a collective of people that were known as the Underground Railroad, but there was no train or no railroad. That's just, it was metaphorical. Okay. Varias otras rutas. Let's go to Harriet Tubman. So here, Harriet Tubman es la persona que le dan crédito por planificando el ferrocarril subterráneo. Ella era una enfermera que cura la disentería y curas a base de hierbas. Era un espía y también un explorador. Su viaje consiste en abrirse paso para encontrar los esclavos que querían libertad. So Harriet Tubman is the person that is credited for planning the Underground Railroad. And she was a nurse, and she helped cure dysentery, and she cured dysentery by using herbs. So she was very knowledgeable about herbs and their healing properties. She was also a spy, and she was also an explorer. And her consistent drive was what opened the doors to slaves that wanted liberty. So here we have the next. Son divididos en tres. La primera era call and response, ¿verdad? Llamada y respuesta. The second one is slow and melodic, lentas y melódicas. Canciones con fraseos sostenidos y expresivo, tiempo relativamente más lento. So these slow and melodic have long phrases that are very expressive, and the tempo is basically, well, usually more on the slow side. So we're going to listen to Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. Vamos a escuchar Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Alone ways from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long ways from home. A long ways from
Esto es interesante de Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. Es interesante que esto está hablando de la madre tierra. This is talking about the homeland. Los esclavos fueron despojados de su patria, obligados a aprender un nuevo idioma y forma de vida en los que se los consideraba propiedad y ni siquiera humanos. Perdieron su idioma, su cultura, sus familias. Perdieron su identidad. So here, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. I feel that it's talking about the homeland. This people were stolen from their land. They weren't allowed to learn how to read and write and to communicate in the new land, but they were also prohibited from using their language, their cultures, and everything else that they could prohibit. They lost everything. They lost their language, their culture, their families, and they lost their identity. And I feel that this song talks about the loss of an identity, which is I don't even know what to say to that. It's the loss of yourself. The last one that we have, el último que tenemos, es la canción es Fast and Rhythmic, rápido y rítmico. Canciones que a menudo cuentan una historia con un ritmo sincopado más rápido. So these songs have a more syncopated rhythm, and it tells or recounts a story. We're going to be listening to Elijah Rock And let's see. La próxima semana tendremos de invitada a la saxofonista colombiana Karen Raquejo, quien será nuestra primera artista entrevistada y quien nos contará sobre su trayectoria artística, llegando a tocar en escenarios internacionales como Dubái y Malvinas. No se pierdan nuestra próxima conferencia, La vocación del artista, con Karen Raquejo y el maestro Carlos M.R. Catá. Y esto es el próximo lunes. Ok. So, esta canción que escuchamos, Elijah Rock, nos da la historia de la Biblia y como Elijah, nunca nos podemos dar de vencidos porque Dios está con nosotros todo el tiempo. Esta canción habla de la serpiente en el jardín y que es un mentiroso, es lo que dice la canción. También habla de Moisés cuando Dios le dio los 10 mandamientos. Aleluya, aleluya, Dios está con nosotros. Eso es lo que dice la canción. So the song is saying, it's recounting a biblical story. It's recounting the snake in the garden, and it's also talking about how the snake is a liar and how we need to stay strong, right? It also talks about Moses and when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, and then hallelujah, thank you, God, for being with us. So these Negro spirituals or African spirituals do many different things. They share the stories of the Bible. They also share emotional experiences when they feel sad or when they feel happy, when they feel that, things, when they're going to try to communicate with each other, it becomes very, very interesting. these hidden meanings. So now I would like to talk about some of these hidden meanings. Me gustaría hablar de estos, los cosas ocultas que están en los espirituales. Comenzamos con heaven o el cielo. Esto significa el hogar, un lugar donde eran libres, un lugar donde pudieran vivir su propia vida lejos del látigo de el master de los esclavos. So here, heaven means a home where they were free, a home where they could be themselves, a home far away from the master's whip. And we hear this in several songs. Basically, the majority of them have talking about heaven. And heaven, o el cielo, la mayoría de las canciones hablan de el cielo. Y el cielo era el norte. The heaven was the north. The states that were free. Donde, how do you say states? Estados que estaban libres en el norte y también en Canadá. Y para ahí querían ir todos los esclavos. That's where the slaves wanted to go. So that was heaven to them. Ese era el cielo. Next hidden meaning, el otro, es water or agua. Water or agua. So, water significa, agua, significa que hay un río cerca, right? It means that there is a river close by, or el río Mississippi, the Mississippi River, right? O un cuerpo de agua que estaba cerca de donde vivían, right? So there was a body of water that was close by where they lived. Y esta agua, cuando hablaban de agua, wait in the water, espera en el agua, es una canción muy famosa porque Dios va a turbar el agua. Y lo que significa aquí en el agua es que los esclavos estaban diciendo uno a los otros, right? The slaves were telling one another, esta noche ve donde hay ese cuerpo de agua, where there's that body of water, y espera, okay? Porque Dios va a turbar todo el agua, right? God is going to trouble the water. Y los esclavos hacían esto porque los perros de los masters no pueden oler cómo huelen esa persona en el agua, porque el agua está corriendo. Y pues ahí se podían quedar por un rato hasta que a band of angels, I'm getting ahead of myself. Me estoy adelantando. Pero por eso es lo que significa el agua, cuando están hablando del agua. Que necesitan que ir y esperar en el agua por esa razón, porque de ahí pueden salir o que se pueden escapar del máster y de los esclavos. Okay. El siguiente, right? So, water signified that it was a body of water close by, and when the slaves were going to make a run for it, they were supposed to go and they were supposed to wait in that water. And that was because the dogs from the plantation weren't able to pick up their scent while they're in the water. So it was a way of them saying, let's congregate here. This is safe here because they can't detect our scent, and then we're going to make a run for it, right? Okay. So next, we have a chariot or carruaje, okay? Esto significa que habrá algún tipo de vehículo que los va a recoger. Por lo general significaba que el esclavo escaparía a través del ferrocarril subterráneo, ¿verdad? So, So the chariot. Esto significaba que a lo mejor un vehículo los iba a recoger, pero también podía estar hablando del ferrocarril subterráneo como una identidad, no como alguien te va a recoger, pero vas a ir por esta ruta, the chariot, el carruaje, y esa es la ruta del ferrocarril subterráneo. This is the route for the Underground Railroad, which is really interesting. Es muy interesante cómo usaban estas palabras y esas frases para que se entendieran lo que estaban haciendo y planificar todo para tener éxito. Es wow. Porque si los capturaban el master, eso era, te mataban. You would die. If you were caught, you would die. So getting caught wasn't a choice. Si te capturaran, eso no era eso no podías decidir eso para nada, porque te iban a matar. So te salías o te morías. Si intentabas arriesgarte salir. So, esto era algo, de la vida. So, era muy importante que todos tenían el mismo mensaje para tener éxito en lo que querían hacer. Okay. So, next we have shoes, zapatos. Cuando hablan de zapatos, también significa que caminarán mucho, que van a caminar mucho. Y también que iban a un lugar lejano. Okay. Si te dicen, ponte tus zapatos porque vamos a caminar por mucho tiempo, ¿verdad? Pues eso significa que iba a ser un poco largo, donde te iban a levantar, a recoger, donde ibas a ver las personas que te iban a dar comida, que iba a estar largo. Y planifica eso porque necesitas algo que comer también. So, shoes and signified that you would be walking a long way, right? You're going to put on your shoes, so you're going to walk. It also meant that you would be going to a very far place, like where they were going to give you lodging or where they would give you food. It was going to be a long way, so you needed to plan ahead and maybe take some food with you. Put something in a bag, something that you could eat, something that something that would help you along the way. So, if you heard something about shoes, then be ready to walk. Si escuchas zapatos, ponte listo, porque vas a caminar mucho. So, next we have the hidden meaning. Aquí tenemos otra vez the promised land o tierra prometida. Y esta tierra prometida es el norte, donde no había esclavitud. Los esclavos soñaban con cruzar a la tierra prometida y a la libertad. So the promised land was in the north, in the northern states where there was no slavery. And the slaves would just dream of being able to cross into the promised land and into freedom. So, no creo que muchos de nosotros podíamos tener una visión o imaginarnos lo que es eso, lo que se está viendo ahorita en el mundo. I don't think we understand completely what it would be like to be a slave, like to conceive that, to not even to comprehend it. How do you even conceive it? It would be something that inconceivable, and I know that it's happening here, in the time that we're living, so that it just seems to go full circle. Next, the hidden meaning we have. Angel, or a band of angels. Ángeles o una banda de ángeles. un grupo de personas que les ayudaría en su camino hacia la libertad. Por lo general, un esclavo se encontraría con varias personas en su camino hacia el norte, gente que los escondería, les daría cobijo, les daría de comer, etc. So, angel or a band of angels meant that there was a group of people, it was a group of people that would be helping them to reach their liberty. So this was very important because the in general, one slave would encounter various people on their way up to the north, and these people would hide them. They would give them cover, right, or shelter, and they would give them food and drink, and just everything else that they needed, so that they could get to where they were going to get to, and I think that is the true meaning of humanity when we're trying to help one another, and in return we could get in trouble as well. Those people that were helping, las personas que estaban ayudando a los esclavos que querían libertad, si alguien se diera cuenta, esas personas también arriesgaban todo, porque la ley les puede caer, pueden ellos también morir. Era mucho, pero ese es como la humanidad se ayudó por la injusticia que estaba pasando, y lo veían y querían hacer algo. That's how we need to speak up against injustice and help each other. And sometimes helping each other means that we ourselves can get into problems, but I don't know. El último símbolo que tenemos aquí, the last symbol that we have, is the devil or Satan, el diablo o Satanás. Usualmente se refiere al máster de los esclavos, quien solo traía dolor y destrucción al esclavo, right? So the devil and Satan usually referred to the slave owner, because they would only bring pain and destruction to the slave. So it was something that they were able to talk this way because the slave owner did not pay attention to the words. Ellos pudieron hablarle al máster, el diablo y Satanás, porque el máster nunca le ponía atención a las palabras cuando estaban cantando. So, ya para cerrar, estos temas ocultos son una lista muy corta, y hay muchos temas ocultos que se encuentran en los espirituales africanos. So these are, this is a short list of hidden meanings, because there's so many of them, that are found in African spirituals. También, si desea comenzar y formular sus preguntas o comentarios en el espacio de comentarios en esta página de Facebook, hágalo en este momento, porfa. So if you have any comments or questions, or anything about this conference, please go ahead and put the comments down in the space provided on the Facebook page, and if you could do that now, that would be great. Okay. So, lastly, algo que también que quería decir es que en el fondo, con la música, estaba usando la música de Antonin Dvorak, y era el Sinfonía número 9, the New World Symphony. I was using for the background song Antonin Dvorak's New World Symphony, Symphony number 9. And why was I using it? ¿Por qué estaba usando la música de Antonin Dvorak? Es porque muchos en academia le dicen o le llaman a el New World Symphony que es un masterwork de gospel. Y eso era porque Antonin Dvorak le encantaba el africano espiritual, le encantaba. Y pues por eso New World Symphony tiene temas que se escuchan como un gospel o un negro spiritual, un espiritual africano. So I was using the Antonin Dvorak's New World Symphony in the background because many academics say that that is Antonin Dvorak's gospel piece, right, for orchestra, that it's actually an African spiritual. And I thought it was very interesting because he did teach at a conservatory. Él sí fue maestro en un conservatorio. Y el H.T. Burley, el que fue el primero que pudo notar estas canciones por la primera vez, él era el alumno de Antonin Dvorak, y de ahí los dos le encantaron el espiritual africano. So H.T. Burley was the first one to start notating these spirituals, and he studied under Antonin Dvorak, and both of them just loved these African spirituals. Antonin Dvorak was said to say that it was a great contribution that the African spiritual gave to the world. So, let's go to our questions. Tenemos un maestro. ¿En qué manera? This is from Maestro Kata. Maestro, ¿en qué manera directa afectó esta música en el jazz y blues? So the question here is from Maestro Kata, and he's saying, what was the direct effect from the African spiritual to jazz and to blues? El efecto que tuvo jazz y blues con el espiritual africano era el ritmo. Todo se alargó, y porque no podían estar tan métricos como sentían la música en clásica en el oeste, ellos cambiaron la fórmula para servirle a ellos mismos. Y cuando leí eso, yo creí, mira, es otra forma de comunicarte con una comunidad, y necesitas que adaptarte o adaptar lo que estás haciendo para que sirva a todos. Y eso fue muy, muy interesante. So what I was saying was that the Negro spiritual allowed the jazz and the blues interpreters. How did they come about that? Well, Western music was written in notations that they didn't know. So they heard it by rote, lo escucharon, and they adapted it to their own necessities. So they elongated the time, the metric, the rhythm. They syncopated it. They felt it the way they felt it inside, and not through the notation. So blues blues habla sobre los momentos trágicos. Habla de dolor, pero es más de el momento ese trágico. So blues talks about the moment, the tragedies, but it just talks about those moments. There's never like any hope. There's never any uplifting message. Nunca tienen como esperanza en blues. Todo es, me robaron esto y se me quebró esto y voy a tomar hasta que me muera. So it's like, they stole this, they took this, they broke this, and so now I'm going to drink until I die, right? That's blues. And y blues, pues me encanta también porque es música así muy bien compuesta. Yeah. So, and jazz jazz was about the syncopations and changing the meter. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Kata. Espero que esa respuesta fue bien de cómo, en qué manera directa afectó el African spiritual a jazz y blues, porque era primero el African spiritual y de ahí salió todo lo demás. African spiritual, salió gospel, salió blues, salió jazz, salió hip hop, salió rap, salió todo eso. Pero eso era primero. Y de allí pudieron cambiar la música como pudieran para que ellos lo sintieran mucho mejor. Okay? Next we have from Miguel Benítez. Si muchos de los esclavos no tenían conocimiento de escritura y lectura, ¿cómo conseguían el conocimiento musical para hacer los cantos? Excellent question. So Miguel Benítez is asking, if the slaves didn't know how to read or write, right, then how did they know the scripture, and even more so, how were they able to put that into music that they would sing? So la respuesta es que ellos sí iban a servicio. No los dejaban entrar en la iglesia, pero podían sentarse ahí y escuchar. Y toda la gente gringa, ¿verdad? Norteamericana, estaba allí y todos tenían todos escuchaban las mismas canciones y también la misma lectura. Y de allí ponían mucha atención a lo que estaban escuchando. Y de allí se llevaban esas historias y se los llevaban para la casa y les decían a todos los demás que no podían ir al servicio. So the blacks were able to, African American, were able to sit outside the church. They weren't allowed inside the church. They were able to sit outside or sit up above in the choir loft, but mainly they weren't allowed. And they would pay really, really close attention to what the preacher was saying, what songs were being sung, they would pay attention to all of that. And because they couldn't read or write, so this was the only thing that they could do is pay attention and in their minds go places, with all of the scripture. And so they were able to take that back to their homes, right, or their little huts or wherever they lived, and share it with everyone else. And so that's how they were able to get the message. Now, to make the songs that they would be singing would be songs that were of African origin. Las canciones que cantaban eran canciones de África. Y era mucho de, it was a lot of humming, it was a lot of a cappella, pero porque no podían hablar africano y no podían hacer nada de su cultura, pues le cambiaron el idioma y ponieron estas historias con la música ya que conocían. Yo creo que sí componieron otras cosas y sí salió música, pero todo es una variación de un tema de África. So the themes were varied. So the concepts or these stories were, put upon the melodic sequences of their songs from Africa. So very interesting also that they were able to do that. And it was because they just wanted to really, really be good at what they did. They wanted to, if this was going to be their life now, then they were going to do it the best that they could. Si esto iba a ser su vida, pues ellos lo iban a hacer lo mejor que pudieran y lucharon y tuvieron mucho éxito. Y por eso todavía en estos días estudiamos African spirituals. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I get stuck because there's so much. There's so much. Es tanto que hicieron. Y, si podíamos nosotros hacer eso ahorita, estuviéramos en una comunidad, en un mundo muy diferente de lo que estamos viviendo ahorita. Okay, so Miguel, I hope I hope that I was able to, respond in a clear way. Espero que la respuesta estuvo bien, que sí, podía responder bien. And if there's any other comments, si hay más comentario o si hay otras preguntas, por favor, pues pongan el comentario. Y ya para cerrar, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Thank you very much for being with us. Este proyecto de CAF es un proyecto del corazón de todos nosotros. This is a project that comes from the heart, from all of us. Este es un proyecto que queremos que las personas que necesitan información o quieren más información o solamente les gusta saber cosas diferentes, que estos mensajes les caigan a ellos, a las artistas, para que ellos también puedan abrirse y crear arte que es para el mundo, right? We do this so that these messages can get to the people that they need. And as artists, we have to create, and we have to always continue to want to help each other, just like the Underground Railroad, como el ferrocarril subterráneo. Si luchamos a llegar a esa tierra prometida, necesitamos ayuda, right? If we want to get to the promised land, we need help. And I think we can be our own artist community, especially here at CAF. La comunidad de artistas, especialmente aquí en CAF, podemos hacer el ferrocarril subterráneo para los que necesitan llegar a un nivel trascendente, right? We can be the Underground Railroad to help young artists transcend. So with that, if there's no more questions or comments, si no hay más comentarios o preguntas, ahí cerramos esta conferencia. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.
Esperamos que la charla de esta noche haya sido enriquecedora y les haya agradado. Y que no se pierdan también la siguiente semana una entrevista conducida por el maestro Carlos Catá con una saxofonista desde Colombia. Ella es Karen Raquejo y estará con nosotros la próxima semana.